Hello, thank you for having us. Thank you for your time. Please tell me a bit about yourself and what you do at UTM.
No problem. My name is Gideon Humphrey. I'm the Physics Lab Supervisor. I supervise all aspects of the undergrad teaching physics labs here at UTM. Sometimes that means writing new lab manuals. Sometimes that means fixing things that are broken. Sometimes that means teaching people how to use equipment, managing the space. Anything that has to do with the undergrad labs, that's my role.
How did you get into this job and what did you study in university or in grad school if you attended?
Sure. So in undergrad, I did engineering physics at McMaster. In grad school, I did a Master's of Physics on atomic clocks. I was a York student, but the research component of my Master's was held at the National Research Council out in Ottawa. My supervisor was an adjunct professor at York. And that's what I studied. The way that I got into this job was fairly ordinary. I saw a job posting and applied to it. I think that in addition to my educational skills, I had also done some computing support work and some management work. And I think that the combination of physics education and computing skills and management stuff was probably what made me appealing as a candidate.
What is fun about your job? Why do you like it?
There are a lot of things that are fun about my job. I think probably my favorite part is when we're doing demonstrations. You've probably seen that we have the Tesla coil that you can play like a musical instrument. We have a superconductive levitation demonstration. We have a vortex cannon gun and a laser plane that we shoot it through so that you can, see the sort of hurricane patterns and that sort of thing. I particularly like doing the sort of demonstrations, the things that make people go, ooh. But there's a lot of other stuff that's fun too. I like the people. I like that, moment when you're teaching someone something when they finally get it. It's a good job. It's a good place to be.
So you probably coordinate all physics lab courses?
Between Dan and I, we do all the coordination of the undergrad physics lab courses, of the lab portions thereof. Basically, the way that it's been working currently is that I'm doing the first year courses and the electromagnetism course in second year, and Dan is doing the waves and vibration course, the advanced physics labs, and the optics course. There's no guarantee it will always be that way. We might switch up at some point, but that's the way that it currently runs.
Do you have any suggestions for upcoming students who are very new to lab atmosphere and writing a lab report?
Sure. So when it comes to new students who are looking for suggestions, I think that the biggest suggestion I have is if you have questions or if you're unsure, come and talk to someone. There are a number of resources for new students. So there's your TA, there's facilitated study groups that often run in first year, there's your lab technician, whether that's Dan or I, we're always around to help out as well. So asking questions is a big part of it. I think that when it comes to lab reports specifically, the first lab report that people write is often very intimidating because there's a large amount of information that's being thrown at you. One thing that is often a little bit comforting for new students is that none of the parts of the lab change after that. So once you've written one full lab report, the next time you write a lab report, you're just going to be doing the same stuff and you'll get better at it. So if you write one lab report and you feel a little bit lost, don't panic. There will be more that is, the same material. In addition to that, it's probably worth mentioning that in the Physics 146 course, we're now doing a sort of a scaffolding thing with lab reports where for the first lab report, you don't have to write the entire thing. You just have to write one portion, like one section of the report. And then the second lab report, you're writing two sections. And so over the 146 course, we're slowly building up to writing a full report. What else? I think also a common question that I get asked by nervous first-year students is how to study for exams and that sort of thing. And one comment that I would give on that front is that Doing practice problems is probably the most important thing that you can do, because if you understand them, then you know that you understand them, and if you have troubles when you're doing it, then you at least know that there's a problem. And if you run into a practice problem that you don't understand and you can't figure out what you've done wrong, then go talk to someone, whether that's your TA or myself or a facilitated study group or the professor or whatever it is. Once you figure out what was the block in solving that problem, then you will have learned something, and that will leave you in a better spot to do well on your exam.
Do you have one tip for your first year undergrad self?
One tip for my first year undergrad self. That's a good question. I think that probably if I had to say one thing to my first year undergrad self, it would be that not to worry as much about the things that go wrong, which for me were mostly bureaucratic things in first year. I don't know how to explain this exactly, but I think that if you put forth an honest effort and you if you try to succeed, you probably will do fairly well. And that doesn't always mean that your path forward is going to be exactly what you envision. I think most of the people that I know did not do exactly the same thing as a career that they studied in undergrad, and that's fine. So I think that I guess what I would suggest is mostly worry less. At all points when something unexpected comes up, take stock of what situation you're in and do the best you can within that situation. It is not common for people to have a specific plan early in life and then adhere to that plan for their entire life. And it's still useful to have a plan. It's a good idea to have a plan, but expect that plan to change repeatedly. Is that a fair enough answer?
That's a really good one. Thank you for your time.
No problem. Thanks for having me.